Record Store Podcast. I'm your host, Kelly K. Fresh Frazier. And on the Record Store Podcast, the theme of the record store has a double meaning. In reality, a record store is a place of discovery and a safe space where creativity thrives as people open themselves up to new ideas through community. Everyone has their own place like a record store that they find solace in. I'll deep dive with my guests into what place is special for them, how it's molded their lives, and we'll just see where the conversation goes. Whether you are a musician, a DJ, a comedian, a writer, a designer, whatever you are, we all have our own record store. And for this episode, I'm joined by Abbyss, co-founder of Psychopathic Records, along with the Insane Clown Posse, about his new graphic novel, Chivalrous, recorded live at Astronomicon 7 Pop Culture Convention. We discuss what his record store is, his safe space, which is the role-playing game Dungeons & Dragons, and the importance of creating a safe space for players. Alex shares his experiences as a game master and the thrill of creating unique adventures. He also talks about the process of writing Chivalrous and the potential for it to become a franchise. We also touch on the early years of Psychopathic Records with ICP and Twisted and the challenges they faced in the music industry. Plus, Alex emphasizes the importance of hustle and commitment in pursuing one's passions. So, without further ado, let's get into this interview with Abbyss. This is your boy K Fresh here. We're here at Astronomicon with someone I've known about like most of my life since I was a teenager, Abbyss. He was, one of the founders of, Psychopathic Records, and he's coming out with something that's been in his head for a long time, and it's called Chivalrous. It's a graphic novel, and I'm just here to talk to him about that, and hopefully some history in regards to Psychopathic Records. How you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. Thanks for having me on the podcast. Just been chilling at Astro. I got my booth looking fresh. I've been selling comic books, been autographing comic books, just been having a good old time, and glad to be here and glad to be a part of everything that's going down. It's been very fun.
Great. Here on the Record Store Podcast, the record store has a double meaning. Meaning, when you go to a record store, it's a place of discovery, a place where you can, of community, a safe space, place of, creativity. Like, what is your place? What would be your record store in your life?
My record store is something that anybody listening right now that's probably 18 to 15 years old and a nerd can relate to, and that's the Dungeon Master table. And the seat of the player does not appeal to me, but give me the end chair where the Dungeon Master sits. Let me lay out my dungeon. Let me bring in my lead minis. Let me bring in my knights. Let me bring in my horses. Let me bring in my monsters, and let's bust out with the character sheets. Let's get some Dungeons and Dragons, 1st edition, 3rd edition, 5th edition, it doesn't matter. Let's get the flavor going, and that is, I guess, my record store, as you put it. That is my Zen safe space. That is where, fuck it, I'll just go on record. That's where I'm happier than a pig in shit.
What makes you so happy about it? What makes a good Dungeons and Dragons community so, makes you feel, good?
Well, so I'm not going to get too much into signs, but I am a Pisces, and most of us Pisces really live most of our lives in our minds, and I'm always just like going on this various adventure in my mind. Like when I run Dungeons and Dragons or other role-playing games for my friends and crews, I don't just buy the module out of the store for $19.95 and be like, now it says you do this, now it says you meet this guy. No, I manifest the adventure in my head, go through it in my mind. This is the world. These are the dramas. These are the villains. These are the problems. And then I create my own adventure. Then I put my friends and actually non-friends too, because I've been GMing professionally at various gaming conventions across the United States for the last 25 years.
You mentioned at the panel here that you did at Astronomicon how you were able to kind of create it like a safe space for other people during the Dungeons and Dragons, how they were able to like finally have some fun doing it. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so, okay, so I just want to be clear. I'm sure there's other GMs out there, and but I've been told that pretty much that, you know, my skills are like top notch. People have been like, you know what, you know, I was at this convention, and, you know, I was just like, man, this convention sucks. All these GMs' games are just so boring and lame. And it's just like, until I played your game, and man, I literally had like one of the most exciting, thrilling adventures I've ever had. I had a great time.
What makes a great, you know, Dungeons and Dragons, you know, event?
So, first things first, a great GM makes a great Dungeons and Dragons event and a good adventure. And you basically have to have it so that there is a legit element that the characters are going to die. There's no just, I'm here to tell you a story. That kind of GM sucks. The characters have to know if the dice don't go their way, or they can't figure out the riddle, or they can't figure out the puzzle, or they can't figure out what the main boss's weakness, that they're going to lose and their characters are going to die. And most GMs won't do it, but I will. So they're just like sitting there sweating for real. It's like, fuck, man, I've been playing this character for 4 years and he's about to die to this fucking blue dragon. And that really puts, you know, a lot of thrill into it. But also, I make sure that also all my main villains talk. So like some monsters don't talk, but I tend to use monsters that can talk because I really like to talk shit, to taunt the players. So they're just really like, you know what, fuck this guy. We're going to take him out. And it just like, you know, really makes for interesting adventure. But, you know, all that. You got to have good puzzles, good riddles, good storylines. And, and just get, you know, the party into it and just have a good old time. And I've been doing it for 40 years since I was a little kid.
How does all that experience, you know, doing the GM of Dungeons and Dragons, how is that served into doing this new thing with Chivalrous Hearts?
So I'm sitting there and I'm GMing for various kids and adults throughout the years, and they're just like, man, you know, you made up this all original character, you made up all this all original monster, and, you know, the way that they talked and the drama that was going on in the world. They're like, basically, you're one of the best dungeon masters or game masters ever. They're just wondering, you know, have you ever wrote anything? And I've been just getting that, you know, pretty much at least one person every year for the last 25 years, you know, just be like, hey, are you a professional writer? Have you wrote anything? So I'm just like, you know, at one point earlier in my life, I'm running Psychopathic Records, working 80 hours a week. The concept of trying to write a book would be beyond ridiculous. And then at another point in my life, I was then running my gaming business, which has been, we were overruled by the speaker. Hey, speaker man, suck it. Anyway, so what I was saying before I was saying then I went on to own my gaming business. I always had an arcade in my basement, and I told myself after the first set of 6 Joker's cards was done, which is what my deal was with the boys, that I was going to retire, and they were fine with it. So we put out all 6 cards. It took 17 years, and I'm like, okay, it's time for me to move on to what I want to do. So I always thought about being a writer, but it was still in the back of my mind, and I'm like, I'm going to do, you know, my arcade business. So I'm in Cali, and I'm doing my arcade business, and I'm loving life until 2020, 2021 comes by, and everything is shut down. And I'm just like, literally, I just had a year and a half, nothing to do. And they're like, and don't go over your friends. And for Thanksgiving, don't have your fucking family come over. Just live in isolation. So I started losing my mind, and I'm like, this is it, bro. This is it. If you ever want to do it, go for it. That one great novel, bust it the fuck out. So I took all my notes from all the best adventures that I'd ever written before, and some of my old school characters, and I put them together in this book called Chivalrous Arts. So the main teenage kid in it, so the main guy is actually a knight that comes from the 15th century to our time. And he runs across a couple teenagers and he starts teaching them the chivalrous arts. Now what the chivalrous arts are is, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but anything dope they put arts at the end. And I'll list them off. There's mystic arts, fighting arts, dark arts, martial arts, and probably 2 or 3 others I can think of. So chivalrous arts. So the chivalrous arts is like night combat fighting, but with a bunch of new stuff that I added to it to form the chivalrous art system. So I thought of all that, but like I said, one of the main characters is Hierarch. Hierarch is a play off the word hierarchy, because he's supposed to have like a noble bloodline, and Hierarch was the name of the first ever Marvel superheroes character that I rolled up. I rolled up that motherfucker and played him. I was 8 years old. And to this day, I lost the character sheet after 40 years, fine, I'll give you that. But I still remembered Hierarch, and I'm just like, no matter fucking what. I mean, you might be like, well, this other book has Hierarch. I've never heard of it anywhere else. So I'm like, I'm going to put the name Hierarch on the fucking map. And so again, I wrote them in. And all the other cool catchphrases are stuff that have come out of like various adventures that I've run. So I took the best of the best and I put it in the book. And I'm telling you, and I would not release the book without, I'm like, look, there's too much shit out there. It's gotta have its all new, all unique ending. Yeah. Or I'm not gonna do it. I gotta break new ground. So I thought about the ending for 2 months, and then I finally determined that this ending, there's nothing like this ending in a universe where you have a million role-play games. When I talk about like computer role-play games or just computer games with different endings, and you have a million TV shows and a million movies, and they've gone through all this shit. The fact that I was able to cut something new, like, holy shit, no one has thought of this until I thought, now it's going to get jacked. But I'm going to swear I'm going to sue the fuck out of any motherfucker that jacks my shit. They are not taking my shit. But yeah, so we went ahead, and it's got an amazing ending. And yeah, honestly, I'd like to think to the point, I'd like you, when it's all said and done, to review the book and go ahead and do a review on it. But don't give the ending away.
I won't give it,
Yeah, but I'm telling you. And if you're listening, you can go on my website or on my Instagram, alchemistelitecomics.com. The link's right there. And you can go to the store and buy the book. Do not let anybody ruin the fucking ending for you. Smack them in the face. You're like, bro, it's just like, how the fuck are you going to ruin the ending for me when I heard the ending is super dope? If anybody ruins the ending for you, just know they have hate in their heart for you. Because you would only, like, someone's watching and think, oh, this is how it ends? Okay, it's like, what a bitch. Like, that's such a bitch move. No,
right.
You do not. Not only for chivalrous arts, I'm declaring don't ruin the ending of anything for anybody.
Right,
that's some hoe shit. Straight up.
Kind of going back to the history of Psychopathic Records, specifically the branding of it. When you go back to Carnival of Carnage, that logo is very iconic and like sets the tone for ICP's career in regards to the Joker's cards and everything. And then the Psychopathic logo is very iconic too. Talk about the branding that happened, from the beginning with Psychopathic Records, and how you were able to use that experience into Chivalrous Arts.
So we sat there and went back and forth between being Psychopathic Records, or believe it or not, I don't know how much information is out there, or Mad Paperboy Records.
I remember Shaggy's mentioning.
So we had a logo for both. And it was really, 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 really close. But at the last minute, we ended up going with Psychopathic Records. And we haven't. That's it. We never looked back at to that point.
Yeah. Did any of that experience, seeing how like the Joker's cards were very effective in building ICP's career? Did that? What experiences for that sort of were you able to project into what you do now?
Same shit, bro. Like right now, start it up. Listen, anybody out there, this is the secret knowledge. If you really want to do something, if you don't have heart to work 16 hours a day, don't even go for it, because that's what it's going to take. You got to out-hustle and outwork everybody else that's trying to do the same thing, whether it's the music industry, the comic industry, fucking podcast. Believe it or not, I know these influencers. It doesn't look like they do very much. The reason why some of those girls are hot beyond all belief and comprehension, because the bitch just spent 8 fucking hours perfecting her hair and makeup before she turns the camera fucking on. Trust me, they work.
Oh yeah,
they work. Yeah, I guarantee you. If you see them when they wake up in the morning, you'd be like 5 max. But after 8 hours of hair and makeup and the perfect outfit, then they pop up to them 10s.
And even if they like, if you can go like past their looks, just doing any of those videos takes so much, like so many takes and so many edits and stuff, that it isn't just like 15 seconds here.
Oh yeah, I mean, you gotta fucking sit there and have the persistence to literally take 150 pictures of yourself with a fake smile, and to be like, this is the one to fucking post, and then do that for the next scene, or do that for the bowl of grapes you're eating, or whatever.
In those early days of Psychopathic Records, do you remember, things that were, what were the things that you early on were like, this is successful, but then what were some of the things where like, this ain't working out, let's move on from this,
The utter concept of pressing up a radio single and working it at radio was absolutely fucking ludicrous. No chance. Basically, you got 2 wild ass clowns fucking with very profound mouths and talking about chopping people up. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, even in the early 90s, horror films were like so big, and I mean, unless like your brain doesn't work right, be like, what is the difference between, seeing Friday the 13th, which was like very popular, or listening to an ICP track where they're talking about chopping somebody's head off with axe? It's just fucking entertainment, bro. Right, but the radio stations are like, we ain't fucking with y'all, man. That was it.
I know early on there's a lot of people who are like, who the fuck are these guys or whatnot, but at the same time with ICP, they were there was a time early on where they were very ubiquitous in the Metro Detroit area, where people weren't necessarily hating on them the way they would eventually get hated on in the mid 90s to the after that. Talk about like, what was your awareness of just like the music scene at that time? Because it was early 90s. A lot of people from a lot of different genres and scenes in Detroit were, they knew each other and were working with each other, doing shows with each other. What was your awareness of like the other artists in the Metro Detroit area?
Bro, I mean, it was a who's who. Eminem put out his little fucking EP before he hooked up with Dre. I don't know what he sold, 20 copies or whatever. He's trying to do his thing. Kid Rock actually went to Jive first. I mean, I wouldn't call it a flop. I mean, he did like 50,000 units, but Jive Records was not happy with that. So for my ideal, it was a success. But from Kid Rock's, from Jive Records' standpoint, it was a flop.
I remember those times because it was enough to be like, this Kid Rock dude is something. Like, he's good, his spiked, hair, whatever, but people knew about him.
Yeah, he was a cool dude. He used to come into the record store and buy all kinds of fucking like CD albums, not CDs, record albums.
Hot hits?
Hot hits, yeah. True.
Rest in peace, Sue.
Yeah, rest in peace. One thing for the record, Sue God rest her soul, my sister-in-law, not my sister.
Oh, sister-in-law? Okay.
Yeah. But still, I loved her. God rest her soul. It sucked when she passed, yeah. It's over with now.
I remember I got into ICP like when I was 14, so I was like 94, 95. I remember going into Record Time like when the Ringmaster tape dropped. There's just a bunch of Ringmaster tapes behind the thing there. Like, from your perspective, was there a moment when it was like, hey, this shit might actually work out for us?
So we were seeing growth. So like Dog Beats did kind of 1,000. I mean, we sold, it's hard to say, we sold some and gave a bunch away. And then Carnival Carnage sold like 1,000. And then, you repress, but then it's like, now we have Beverly Hills Remaster's coming out.
Yeah.
Beverly Kills sold like 5,000, and now we're repressing Carnival, and it's trying to catch up. And that's like, all right, now Ringmaster's coming out. And it's just like, well, fuck, if we're already at 5, you know, maybe we go 5x the sales again. Maybe Ringmaster can go 25. And yeah, it just kept growing. It just kept growing.
What were your thoughts on Twisted when these guys were presented to you?
I'm just like, I personally, to this day, like the name House of Crazies. There's about...
Oh, I love that name.
Right, there's about 3 different stories going around. Why, for whatever reason, the name has changed. Like, legit. Like, I can tell you 3 different stories,
oh, yeah.
and I don't know which one is true, even though I was there.
Right.
So I'm not even going to cross that bridge. But that name would have been fine. And otherwise, I think, I thought they were fucking great. I mean, it is what it is. They pride themselves, you know, that they're in the underground. Fucking man, so the lyrics and the fucking the flow, you know, I put them up fucking top 1% out of any fucking rap group as far as skills. I like these guys are great.
When it came to ICP and Twisted, you know, there was, you know, many instances of, you know, signing with major labels, different deals or whatnot. You know, this is, you know, ICP was a very this is a weird thing, you know. Some crazy guys talking about crazy shit. Same thing with Twisted. How are you guys able to actually still like get the attention of a major label, get these deals, whether you know the deals were bad or not in hindsight? You know, what was it about ICP that you know got their interests?
They're just like, well, you know, maybe we can get you that radio play because, you know, we reach a little deeper and give you a video, maybe we'll get you on MTV. But I mean, we were still doing videos like chicken hunting that, you know, you can only do so much with like $10,000 fucking videos.
Right.
Right. So, we would, you know, sign these deals and, you know, we got benefits, we got like bones. But, yeah, like the Jive record, for shit, so we're like, okay, we're done with these fucking guys. So we had to fight to get off the Jive. Yeah.
When it comes to those early years, what's the most positive, the early years of Psychopathic, what's the most positive things that come out of your mind, your memories about that time?
Bro, it's like I didn't even live my life, bro. I mean, I'm trying to like just ask positive. I mean, you don't understand, like the amount of work that had to be fucking done. Like, they'd be like, who won the Super Bowl? You weren't at the party? It's like, nah, bro. Fucking, I was at fucking Kinko's, fucking designing fucking flyers, and then fucking, hey, nobody fucking steal. Lord, forgive me for all my sins, but stealing unlimited amounts of fucking flyers from Kinko's, because I couldn't fucking afford it.
I always like to ask this question too. Like, what's sort of a nugget of knowledge from your experiences in life that anybody listening to this, doesn't matter what sort of avenue of artistry or business that they're in, that they can sort of put into their lives?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you know, I'm not going to stir any controversies, but I'm going to say what I got to say. All I got to say is that the boss man upstairs has always been good to me, and I'm going to give him a shout out, boss man. Now, that's first, and that's done. Now, underneath that is hustle, bro. Hustle as hard as you can, and if you want to do something, you know, let's just go the Tom Brady strategy. If you're not prepared to out-hustle anybody else trying to do what you're trying to do, you're not going to be the top dog. You might not even have any success. Right, so that's the thing, man. Hustle your ass off. If you want to do it, commit to it. Don't half-ass at it. Don't half-ass it. Either go all in or don't.
Is there any final thoughts that you want to share about Chivalrous Arts and what to expect?
Yeah, this is the birth of a complete franchise. There's going to be, hopefully, many other books in the series. We're going to have a role-play game. We're going to have a board game. And when we get 3 full graphic novels done, I have every intent to shop the series to Netflix, HBO Max, you know, all the major players to see if there's potential for either movies and TV series. And honestly, I owe the Juggalos so much. You know, so I'm from Cali, and it's very hard to get a booth at the San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah.
But I got one, and it's very hard to get a booth at the LA Comic Con, but I'm in there too. I have the right to renew on either of those cons, but it was just like there's no fucking way. I was like, if this is the OG book and it ends up skyrocketing, I want to know as a thank you to the Juggalos that they had the first opportunity to buy up the fucking first pressing, as many as they want, and so that's it. So when Jamie or Paul and George are like, come to Astro, right, debut the book here, done. That's all there was to it. You got it, guys.
What's been the reaction like? We haven't seen you in a long time in public, What's been the reaction of this and just being around people, being around the Juggalos and all the other people that you see here at Astronomicon?
I'm absolutely positively floored, jaw-dropping floored. The amount of love, respect. I've easily signed 1,000 autographs. I've easily taken 500 pictures and probably gave away at least another 1,000 hugs. Just everybody just like, oh my God, it's double A after all these years. How you've been? It's just like a family, homecoming, just love. A lot of handshaking, a lot of fist bumping, hugs, pics, autographs. It's just been awesome. So I am, in entertainment, but I mean, this is still a music-centric scene. You can't say otherwise because it is. It's all about albums and it's all about concerts, and then it does, cheer out a little bit more from there. So, I'm not in music, but I am in, comics and nerdiness, which is a branch of entertainment. So it's close. But, the fact that, it's almost like Twisted said, yeah, same idea. So we're going to take a PopCon and spice it up with Juggalo-ness, but not too much. But you can have all the Juggalo concerts you want at night. But during the day, it's just going to be a PopCon with a splash of Twisted here, a splash of Blaze here, a splash of ROC here. It's just really cool, man.
And that was kind of a thing in regards to the ICP Juggalo thing at times before, where it was hard to kind of have your normal type of people enjoy that sort of environment.
And they'd be like, this looks super cool, but I have a feeling if I go, because I don't have no tats, I don't know any songs, that fucking straight up they're going to kick me the fuck out.
So, where can people go online, again, to get more information about what you're doing?
So, on Instagram, the name of my comic book company is Alchemist Elite Comics. And once you're on Alchemist Elite Comics, you can see a bunch of pictures from the comic book. You can get an update on when the role-play game and board game are coming out. And more importantly, there's a hyperlink to the store where you can buy the book. And I like the main night cover. You got a minute on that. You'll see 2nd edition, 3rd edition, 4th edition. I'll keep pressing that until there's no more demand for it, which hopefully there'll be demand for it forever. But the red Jamie Madrox monster cover is limited edition, first press only. When it's gone, it's gone. So at a minimum, just jump on there and get that big red.
All right, thanks for chatting with me.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll do it again sometime. I'd love to come on again.
All right, great.
All right, take care.
Thank you for listening to the Record Store Podcast, presented by Fresh is the Word. This podcast is streaming online on all platforms. For more information on the Record Store Podcast, please visit freshistheword.xyz. Follow me on all social medias at KFreshDetroit. All my projects, including this podcast, are all a labor of love. So please share the links to this podcast and rate and review it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thanks for listening, goodbye, and good night.